Hi everyone, it's Andy from Hobby Headquarters. Well, as you can see, I am working on the P38 Lightning from Tamiya right as we speak here. We've got most of the cockpit done, as well as working on some of the undercarriage parts, which I'll show you a little bit of a close-up right here. While I'm working on this, I was receiving a few emails from some of the people from Summerfest, as well as a few other people that heard about it, that we did a Q&A while I was there. And actually didn't think I had video footage of it when I realized my son had recorded the entire thing. Now, that's what I'm putting up right now. So it is just a question and answer event that we went to. It's about 45 minutes long. The very first question, the moderator was cut off right there, but the question was, how did you get involved in the hobby business? So what I thought I would do, I know a lot of you guys might not be interested, but some of them are, so this is up for you guys. If you want to take a look at the video, it's just a Q&A with me, and it's kind of interesting. We had a lot of fun while we were down there. So let's get started. I was talking to my dad and brother, and we were saying I loved modeling as a kid. Where I lived was San Diego, California, and they go, "There's no model shops around here. Let's do that." And that was before the internet. We opened in America.
What year?
It was 1990.
Okay.
And back we didn't have the internet, so we had a phone book this big in the United States for business to business. So we just started searching and found model distributors and found a spot, and then opened up a hobby shop and had that one for 10 years in San Diego. Okay. And cost of living in California was crazy, so we moved to Arizona and opened up one in Arizona. And
okay.
I've been there for 15 years now.
Oh.
And then YouTube came along about 4 years ago, because I would be busy in the store and customers would come in and say, "Hey, how do you do this right here? How do you do this right here?" And I went, "Well, I can't show you right now. I'm busy, but I'll do a little quick video." And I did a video and forgot about it. And I came back and I had 10 subscribers and I had 1,000 views on it in a couple of days. I'm like, wow, this is crazy right here. So I started doing a little bit, and I pulled that one down because it wasn't a real video, it was stills. It was just camera shots that I had put together and talked over. And I went, oh, this is crappy. I did a bad job on it, but people wanted to see it. So I did more and more and more, and then boom, it exploded on it. And then people start coming into my store. "I saw you on video." And then the first time, it was about 6 months into it, and someone asked for an autograph.
Oh.
And I went, why? Why do you want my autograph? And I went home and I told my wife, and she goes, "Oh, you're going to get a giant head now." And I went, "No, I'm still the same Andy right there." But now it's kind of used to it. Yeah. And taking photos with all you guys, I love doing that, and meeting everyone too. Believe it or not, I get a lot of people that visit my store in Europe. They're visiting the Grand Canyon or something else, or California, and they swing by the store and they stop by and see it. The best compliment I had, it was a guy came in from Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And he goes, "I have the one day before my business meeting." And he said, "I had a chance to go to the Grand Canyon or come and visit you. And I chose to visit you." And I said, "You made a mistake." I would have went and saw the Grand Canyon.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
No, but it's humbling. I'm very humbled by even the turnout here like that, and meeting people all over the place.
Yeah, that's a nice thing.
And then they see the shirt right there, and that's how I met Harold actually from last year. In the United States, you guys have it here, IPMS. Yeah, well that's our big show over there. And last year it was in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm in Glendale, but that's like touching suburb of it, like Delmenhorst to Bremen. And Harold came in my store, and we met him, and it's been great. And I buy from MBK all the time myself, so it's been wonderful. But that's a quick little how we all got started in this here.
Do you still remember the first kit you built and that you kept and not blew apart?
I actually didn't keep many of them, but one of the very first ones I built was a P61 from Monogram, the Black Widow. Oh man, I remember that thing, and that was one of the first ones I remember that I painted. And we got a can of black spray paint, just painted the whole thing. And I touched it way too early, and there was a thumbprint in the side, but I loved it. It was so cool. And in the front of my store, I buy collections of old model kits.
Okay.
And I can't. It was a Dauntless, the one with the orange wings and the silver body.
Yeah.
an original one from the 1970s came in, and it was one of the very first kits I ever built. And I remember it being so nice. And then I opened it up and I go, oh, this is so junky. But I kept it. I kept the box because I don't want to build that on it. And then the very first Tamiya kit was always a big one for me. It was the 250 half track with Rommel at Greif.
Yeah,
Greif.
Yeah.
And I always wondered, how did all those guys fit inside this vehicle right here? Something's wrong right here because there's no room in this kit right here for guys. But that one, I found that kit too, and I put one of those away too. So now I have room just all for my new stuff. So.
Okay. So what do you think about the last 20 years, how the model market changed, or the model itself?
It's incredible. I've seen you're right, in the last 20 years, the model kits have just gotten so much better. And everyone was always saying, oh, modeling's dying. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. I hear that all the time. The biggest problem, good or bad, is model companies were, especially in the United States, were pushing it towards young children. And this is not a young children's hobby anymore. It's an adult hobby now. In the United States, the average kit is $60 to $70. There's not a lot of little kids buying $60, $70. Now we have Revell; those are still in the 20s. But to build those are cheap for or were until they moved all over to Germany now. But yeah, a $50, $60 kit, $200 airbrush compressor, $100 in paint, glue, and all that. There's no little kids doing that right there.
Absolutely not.
And that's what I've kind of done. There was a long time ago I used to build where it would take me forever to build a kit, and I would build on it. And I actually kind of got burnt out that way. I didn't want to model anymore because I was spending I wasn't having fun. I'd come home, my wife goes, you build anything recently? I go, no, I wasn't having fun doing it. Because I was spending so much time worrying about every little nut and bolt. And I stopped modeling for 2 years. This is way before YouTube. And I stopped modeling for about 2 years. And then a kit came in that was interesting to me. And I said, I'm going to build that. But I'm going to build it quick. I mean, I do very, very fast work. I let Tamiya glue do all the work for me. And I built it in like 5 days, painted it, because I like painting and weathering more than I do building. And I had fun doing that. This was a lot of fun.
That's a hobby.
And that's what it was.
Hobby.
And that's how I try to push on YouTube, that have fun. If you're, so many guys come, oh, you did this wrong, and I had fun doing it. That's fine. And that's the biggest compliment and comment I get from people. And you got me back into modeling because you're having fun with it. And are you guys familiar with Bob Ross in this country? And everyone comes up, you're like Bob Ross. You're nice to listen to. You show us how to do something really quickly in 20 or 30 minutes. And that to me, because I watch Bob Ross. My son and I paint Bob Ross all the time. I go, that was the best compliment I ever got, was the Bob Ross one. It's something that is fun to do. And, it just goes along, and happy little clouds. Happy little camouflage on all my tanks. So.
Yeah, that's nice.
But
so,
yeah.
How much time do you spend on an average model? Which do you film? It's 30 minutes.
Yes.
So what is behind that?
And people are always shocked. Now I do all my work in my store. If you walk into my store, the very front of my store, because we get a lot of sunlight in Arizona, so the front windows are huge, and we get a lot of light in there. So I set up a table in there, and to film, edit. You guys might be kind of weird, but I can knock out about 4 or 5 days in between customers.
Yeah.
So
with painting,
weathering, everything on
That's
it right
nice.
there. And yeah, people go, don't you let the glue dry? And I go, it's to me, it dries fast. It's like, you don't have to worry about it. And then, for example, the Ryfield with interior, that took me 11 days to do it from start to finish. So. And that's why I don't have any hair. That drove me crazy, but it looks really, really nice when it's done. So
you will do the Ferdinand that you had?
Yes, I love, because it's different inside.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I'm hearing that Tacom or Ryfield's going to do a boring Sherman, but with an interior. That would be great. So
you're into interiors?
No, I'm not. But I want to do something different.
Yeah.
And I did the King Tiger with interior. 2 Panthers with interior, and I said, no more interiors for at least a year. But a Sherman, or a Panzer IV, I heard was coming too. So very happy to see that one. But a Sherman's a little bit. Shermans are super boring, and even in the United States, German armor is #1. We sell more German armor than anything else on there.
Than we ever had.
Right. Yeah, you get a kit and you go, never seen this before. And you find out they made one, and they made it out of wood. But we have 5,000 kits of it, you know, type thing. So it's so unusual.
Yeah.
And there's a book out. A friend of mine made 100 Years of German Armor, and I'm looking through it and I'm like, I've never seen these kits. And then Dragon will come out with it, so or someone will come out with it on it. But it's a lot of fun to see that. But.
What do you think will be the future of modeling? Anything that would you expect to come? Where's the journey going?
I think it's actually only getting bigger and bigger. And think about 10 years ago, there was no Ming, no Ryfield model, no Tacom, no Das Werk.
Yeah,
so,
no,
and I know there's a lot more coming from him too. So there's so many companies come out and they're getting better and better and better. In fact, I have sitting at my workbench at home, a friend of mine who's watching my store. My store is open right now. He said, Tamiya sent me the new P38 Lightnings.
Oh.
Now that in the United States is going to be a huge kit because every other company that's made it, there's problems with it. The geometry's wrong in the back or it doesn't line up. The P38 from Tamiya, it's Tamiya. You see 2 stars and you know it's good stuff. So I'm excited about that. I've got some RC tanks coming and that I'm going to build up from Tamiya again.
Yeah.
And all the new stuff from Das Werk I plan on taking home with me and building up too. So
Good choice.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I love the Fawn, and I have to admit, when I built, I got the Fawn, and I went, "Is this real? I've never seen this vehicle before. We've never seen pictures or anything in the United States."
They're quite rare. I
Right.
wonder about it.
But Americans liked it because you can put a tank in the back of a truck. We'll build it. So I brought cases and cases of them in, and we sold them all because it was just so great on it right there. And then you can put another tank behind it too. So
Yeah.
it's like,
2
how
tanks.
big is this vehicle?
It's long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I even did one where I had a SDKFZ, was the way we say it, 7, the 8-ton. Put one up. I go, that even fits in the back of it.
Like in the picture.
Yeah,
in this
exactly.
picture, yeah.
But even in the truck, I don't know if it's real, but we put it even in the bed of the truck, and it fit in there too.
Okay.
So yeah, I was like, this is incredible.
So we have some questions from the
Oh,
internet.
okay.
We
Excellent.
collected some. So some guy wanted to know the modern German army kits, like Tacom the Berger Panzer.
Yes.
Is it available yet?
No. I've heard, believe it or not, we've had it on order, but we have not seen it in the United States yet for some reason. It's,
So how is the appreciation of modern German army models?
and you know, I was talking to Harold about this too. He said, oh, you probably don't sell a lot. And believe it or not, the Leopard, is that proper pronouncing for you?
Yeah.
That's how we pronounce it.
Yeah.
The 2A7 and the 2A6 sells like crazy in the United States. More, almost as much as the Abrams.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because everyone loves that. And the very first model I built of that, I didn't realize you guys build them in the factory and you paint them all the same.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it and I'm like, why, they're all painted the
You have
same.
to be accurate.
You're right. So I took my Tamiya thing and I tried to copy as best I could on it. And no one in America knew that they were all painted the same either. So I could have painted it anything and no one would have known. In my country, everything gets painted desert yellow. All we do is fight in sand now. So, but and a few times we get NATO ones. But and those are actually the coolest ones when they're NATO with some desert markings on it. So they something contrast to it. I like doing the contrast. That's why I love building Shermans to a degree, but painting them, they're boring. They're green. We just made 55,000 of them, so you gotta build, you know, or Jeeps. I love Jeeps. I want to build a 1-to-1 scale Willys Jeep.
Really?
My wife, I gotta talk her into it first though. And it's funny, in the Jeep in the United States is super expensive to buy, but the 2.5 ton, the Deuce and a Half, they're dirt cheap. You can buy them for like 10 grand. You got to fix them up a little, but then you got to try to put it somewhere. And she won't let me put one in the garage. So she said, a Jeep? Yeah, that's like the size of this thing right here. So.
Hey?
Oh. Oh, there it is. Back on. Yeah. But yes, no, but back to your question about modeling, I only see it getting bigger and bigger.
Okay.
You'll see more companies coming up. Tamiya seems to be back on, and we always use them as an example because they kind of stopped making models for a while.
Yeah.
And then now they're back to a good push, and with all the new Chinese companies coming, and Unfortunately, we don't have one American company anymore, so they're
No?
all, nope, Revell was the last one, and you guys have that now, so.
Yeah.
But America's still a big consumer of models. We really like
That's
them a
good.
lot. Yeah.
That's good.
And I'm sure Europe is as well. And we're not like the Japanese where
No, the Japanese are
everybody
crazy.
does
They are
you're
crazy.
right about that. So, but maybe someday we'll get to that
Yeah,
point.
we'll see. We'll see. So, is there a kit, tank, ship, or something like that that you would most love to see, or you say, I take anything?
Yes, there's a lot of ships, but they're all coming out, and I love ships, but I don't usually have the room or the time to build. A ship takes me about 3 weeks to build with all the Zimmer and stuff, but I actually one that I plan on doing very soon is Prince Eugen.
Oh.
Yeah, I love that ship. It's a beautiful ship, and someday I'd love to go see where its rear end is sticking out of the water in a bikini, I believe. So
Yeah,
somewhere.
probably, yeah.
Go on Google and you can look it up, and it's still sitting there on it. But it's such a beautiful ship, and I love that one. Or maybe even Scharnhorst and Bismarck if there's a brand new, really good kit. I'd love to do that. And then the Panther's my favorite tank.
Oh.
So, but I've done so many Panthers lately. I'm like, but now I want to do one just the exterior and do all the camouflage patterns on it and build them all up. A, D, and G. So.
Whoa. That's a task.
Yeah, exactly. That's long term though.
Yeah,
Long term. I'm not
okay.
doing that tomorrow.
So, another guy wants to know, how many kits do you build in a year, approximately?
About 70.
70.
But
That's impressive.
I only do one at a time. All my people come in and they say, "How many kits do you have started?" And I said, "1."
That's
Because
also impressive.
Right, because if I have to keep my discipline, because if I start one, I will never touch it again. I push it off to the side and it'll never
And
get
it's gone,
seen.
yeah.
And then also because of YouTube, I got to get the video out
Yeah,
to
sure.
do it for what it is. But yeah, one and about 60 to 70 kits. Lately, it's been a little less because I've been very busy with other things. But
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to trying to knock out a lot of them.
Do you keep them anywhere?
My display case is all over my store, but believe it or not, I sell most of the kits I build
Okay.
because I'm out of room. I got about 100 and something kits, and people go,
need
"Do
a
you want to?"
warehouse.
Yeah, I need a warehouse like this to do it. People go, "Do you want to sell that?" And I went, "Sure, yeah." No, certain kits I keep. There's a Ferrari. I don't do a lot of cars, but I have a Tamiya Ferrari, the new one that they sent me, and I love it. And somebody, "Do you want to sell that?" And I went, "No, that one's staying in the box right there." And I'm a huge Michael Schumacher fan. When I used to watch Formula One all the
Yeah.
time. We'd have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to watch Formula One in the United States, but we'd get up every time and watch it live. And so that car I'm always going to keep.
Okay.
And my Mercedes AMG, one of those too.
Great.
I'd love to see one of those in real life too. Probably can here.
Maybe. Last question from here. What was the worst kit you ever built?
I don't like talking bad about kit companies, but oh God, what was it? There was a Zvezda kit that I didn't finish, and a mini art kit that I didn't finish. And now they've
A lot
gotten
of swearing, yeah?
And there was one Hasegawa kit that was my fault that I was so mad at. I was building a Focke-Wulf, and I got it all beautifully done, and I was spraying the clear coat on it, and I messed it up. And rather than putting it aside and coming back later, I tried fixing it on the spot, and I messed it up even worse. In my store, you walk out the front door and there's a dumpster. I took the whole thing, walked it and threw it right in there, and I was so mad. And that was before YouTube, and I just threw it away, and I'm like, ah. But yeah, I'm better at that now. If I mess up, I put it away, come back a day later, and then I try to fix it. And usually I can. I'm not the greatest modeler in the world, but I'm a really good fixer of models. I can fix up usually most of my mistakes decently enough.
That's good.
Yep.
That's good.
And I'll let you guys in on a tip. If you ever see the video and the model is only in one direction, it's because I messed up the other side a little bit, and I don't want to put it on camera. And perfect example was, Tamiya probably won't like this, but when I built their ME109 or BF109,
Yeah.
and Tamiya sent me an early copy, so I only had one, and I'm building it, and I knocked the canopy over and I step on it. It's not available for 3 months, so I can't fix it, and I went over to my box of Hasegawa stuff, I grabbed the Hasegawa canopy, popped it on, it fit. Nobody knew the difference. Now it's in the open position, so you can't see it, but nobody knew the difference on it right there. And he goes, that fits pretty good. I go, yeah, it's Hasegawa's, but don't tell anybody. Now everybody knows.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, nah, it's fine on it. But it is, yeah, if the model doesn't spin on the video, the other side has a little flaw somewhere, so. And I'm looking, I could redo it. No, let's just, there's another pile sitting there. So, in fact, I've got being gone in Europe for 2 weeks, I've got a pile this big of stuff that I want to get to, so I'm very excited. P-38 first, so.
Yeah.
Will that be popular here? Are you guys interested in that airplane? Because I know people are, I have a little hole in the wall store, double the size of this thing right here, and I have 80 of them on order already and building, so, because you just don't see that airplane in the United States in a model very well. The old Revell kit,
Yeah.
terrible. Comparatively. For 1970s, it was great, but for 2019, no. So.
Ja, irgendwelche Fragen von euch?
Is there a chance to get a outtake video? I think you make sometimes a little mistakes.
I do. I try to keep my videos PG. So a few times I've and my son has said you should put them together, and I probably will eventually. I don't make that many. I make a lot of mistakes off camera, because and then I'm like, oh man, I messed this up right here, and then I'll go back and fix it. And a lot of times, but a few of my friends will do it, and they say you need to put all the outtakes in when you mess up, and I'm like, yeah, but that's a whole nother editing thing. And my son, he's a film student in university, and he's taught me the editing program really well. So I can even go in there now when I mess up one word, and I can pull the word out and close the thing up, so you can't hear me mess up on it right there. So if the sound ever goes out for a half a second, it's because I messed up. And okay, send it together. Yeah, beep. Yeah. I don't even need to beep. I can cut that out. The editing, that's what made it so wonderful. Desktop with a computer, and you can do so much stuff on it right there. And now I've been filming a lot with, I used to film with my iPhone, sitting right over there. All my videos are not filmed with cameras, just with my phone, like we were doing yesterday. But I just bought this, and now everything's going to be in 4K, and I like it because I'm getting old. I can see better when I'm filming. I can set it up right there. And finding a stand to hold that was fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, 'cause it's not easy because it's so big.
Okay.
And on a tripod like this.
Yeah, yeah.
But yep, I love doing that.
Weitere Fragen?
Who was your idol when you started modeling?
Honestly, I didn't really look too many people in there. I purposely didn't read a lot of stuff. And even now, they go, well, who do you watch this? And I do it so I don't feel like I'm copying anyone. Because people go, oh, they go, you did it just like that. And I went, I don't even know who that is right there. So, but idling, my uncle actually got me modeling a lot. So, and he was the one I built all the airplanes with the thumbprints on it right there. And he just helped me and said, hey, yeah, that looks really good. And flying them through my grandmother's house. And we lived on the 3rd story at his house. They didn't fly. And I still have a scar on my hand right here where I lit one on fire. And a blob of hot plastic hit my hand. And I never lit another one on fire after that on it. So I was like, what was I doing? But yeah, it's probably my uncle in that respect. But and then I do watch a little bit, like Mig Jimenez. I watch him. And Rodrigo here, I want to watch his figure painting in a little while.
Yeah.
I know that's my big downfall, and I don't have the time to learn yet, because to do a figure will take as long as doing a tank, from what I hear.
Rodrigo says no.
No, and I'm going to watch right there the whole time for him right there, because I do want to do, and everyone goes, why don't you do figures? I'm like, because I don't know how to do them, and I don't want to just put something out that, is like kind of weak, and people go, oh, that's terrible. And I'm like, well, yeah, I know, I told you I don't do figures, so. But hopefully with his help in a little while, I will be doing figures very soon. At least, like you said, a tank commander, right? Put one up on top of the turret, and we'll have for scale. That's the biggest thing right there. So I had a few pre-done ones that I used to put on the side, just to show people scale. That's a big tank, and when you have nothing to show it against. But absolutely.
The tank commander can also use a scarf for us.
Exactly right, or goggles, yeah.
What is your plan for the next 5 or 10 years? Maybe workshops or shows in US?
Yes, I was doing a model show that I did what do I call it? I can't remember the name.
Canyon State
Canyon
Model Con.
State, Canyon State, because we're at Grand Canyon State in Arizona, Model Con. And we did it for 2 years, and it was getting bigger and bigger, and then we lost the venue to do it in. And then YouTube got big, but I plan on wanting to redo that one again and grow that one. And now, because of YouTube, I have a lot more connections, even in the United States, that we might want to do another model show. And so a lot of model shows to show people, and a lot more YouTube videos, because the biggest thing I see now is we don't get kids, but we get young adults, 20s and 30s, that are like, and I've had 4 or 5 of them come up to me today. I haven't built models forever, but I watched that and I thought, you got me interested in watching models again. And because you're A, having fun, and B, you're not talking down to you in a way that, oh, you better do this 6 months project, which is great. I love looking at those, and they're beautiful. But I couldn't do that anymore. I'd not want to model anymore. But I do it. I'm like, I like the way that looks. Put it on my shelf and have fun with it.
Yeah.
Have fun. I can't say it enough. Have fun. There's so many guys used to come in and they go, oh, this is wrong. This is wrong. I'm like, you don't sound like you're having fun. Why are you doing this hobby right here? And that was the reason I did my thing too. Is when customers come into my store, I'm doing it for those customers, and I see the average customer that comes in does it for 2 or 3 hours on the weekend, maybe 3 or 4 times a week. He wants to get away from the wife and kids a little bit. It's late, and they want to just go and have some fun. No, I don't mean that in a bad way. My wife, you know what I mean? It's like she's got her hobbies too. Yeah, right. Well, it's funny you say that. Everyone says, "What is your model room at home?" I have not a single model at home. My store is my man cave, so I've got my models, and everything's right there. I run out of paint, I don't have to go far. I walk over to the and take it and put it on the shelf. So yeah, I'll keep, maybe eventually take that Ferrari home and put it on there, but it's for display right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I see is more and more young people, young, not kids, but like 20s to 30s getting involved. And that's what's going to be the biggest push for this hobby, is getting them excited about it, and not making it so much that, oh man, this is above my level right here. And I'm like, no, you can make it easy. Buy a can of Tamiya spray paint. Do an early Panther. Just do it all dark yellow. You don't have to do a million camouflages. And then they do it, and they come back, and then 6 months later, they have an airbrush, paint, all the other stuff, and they go, I'm loving this. I'm having so much fun. Start out slow and build your way up to
excellent.
it. Yeah, and I'm not, when a customer comes in, we call it hold your hand, where I'll hold their hand, not literally, but walk them around and say, you need this. And I don't try to push stuff on them in the sense like, well, you guys have all seen a Tamiya list of paint. I go, you're not going to need all those paints. If you're doing it to start right there, just do this, and then as you build up, then you get all those paints. And when you get one bottle, for example, that paint's going to last you forever. If it's clear red, how often do you... Okay, we're done. Clear red right there. And my store still carries the big bottles of Tamiya, which they're pushing on us the little bottles. And more, I'm like, but I resist that, because I like that big bottle of paint to have all the time. And then showing people how easy it is, like even thinning. Well, how do you thin paint? Milk. It's like, and then people would come in and say, oh, no, you got to do it this way. And I went, no, you don't. Why do you make it so difficult? Just add just enough thinner that it flows for your airbrush. Remember that, and you're done. Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
It's not difficult. Getting really good is just time and patience and practicing, and that's what it is, and fun. And if you enjoy it, you're going to get better, because you're going to want to do it.
Weitere Fragen?
Ja, da musst du mir aber helfen. Ob schon mitgekriegt hat, dass amerikanische Veteranen zu ihm kommen, um ihr Fahrzeug zu bauen, egal jetzt ob Panzer oder LKW, und danach dann weitergemacht haben, oder das nur gebaut haben und fertig waren.
Okay. Did ever veterans come to your shop and say, I want to build my vehicle?
Oh yes, all the time. It's all modern day vehicles.
Yeah.
I don't get much stuff, so you'll get Vietnam era, not much Korea. I used to have a few. I had a P-51 Mustang pilot. This was like 20 years ago, and he was short, and he was like about 80 years old, but he'd come in and he would build every Mustang that came out, because I flew this airplane, I want to build this airplane. And then I get a lot of military now that come in my store. Right south of me is Luke Air Force Base, where the F-35 that is the training base for for the entire world.
Okay.
So in fact, we've had many. I know you guys aren't flying that one, but we've had a lot of German pilots that train on F-16s there, and they come in. We see them with their German flag and their uniforms on, and the camouflage pattern looks like the World War II one, and it's like it's kind of interesting to us. But lots of veterans come in, and a lot of active duty military come in, and boy, what's really funny is if you're in the Army, you want to build Air Force stuff. Air Force guys want to build Army stuff. And back in San Diego, we huge Navy. The 7th Fleet is there, and never wanted to build ships. All wanted to build tanks. And I guess you see it every day. Oh, I want to look at that right there.
Boring.
Right. Except for the one you're on.
Yeah,
yes, if you're
right.
on if you're on Abrams, and I have a very, very dear friend. He was a captain in on the Army, and on Abrams tanks. So he has every Abrams tank known to man, and it's very interesting. And it's nice to having guys when come in the military, because then you go, what, is this accurate? How good is this right here? And then the stories they'll tell you, and they go, yeah, it looks pretty good. And then when you get older, I used to talk to like grandfathers and ask them what kind of vehicle we're on and stuff. He goes, I don't know. He was a tank or something like that. And I talked to my wife's grandfather who fought in Italy, and every single tank that he ran up against was a Tiger tank. And every gun that fired at him was an 88. And I went, really? There was like not that many Tigers in the world, but every single one, because you're scared 18-year-old, you're like, everything that's shooting at me is scary.
Must
for
be a
it.
Tiger.
Right. And unfortunately, I wish I could have talked to my grandfather more about that, my grandfather, but didn't get much of a chance, because the time I wasn't interested in that, and then by the time I was, he had already had passed on. So, but I love World War II history and studying about it and then building the models for it. So, yes.
Why do you like German tanks?
The most interesting, and in the United States too, German tanks are so much more popular, and they're so interesting in the camouflage patterns, and like I said, Shermans are fun to a degree, but they're boring, and they're hard to weather. I mean, because when you put dark green paint or olive drab, nothing shows up very well on olive drab. Rusts, but the tanks were coming out so fast, you don't really see many rusted vehicles on it. So. And like a lot of times you'll see, we were talking, Rodrigo and I, about the Spanish style, and you see tanks that look like they're rusted very bad, like Russian tanks especially. Like Russian tanks lasted like 3 weeks before they were destroyed, and another one was coming. It's like they didn't have that much time to rust out on it. And watching a video on the Tank Museum in Bovington, and you see and I like looking at all the Panthers and all, and there's the Panther that's there, and there's the gentleman, the British curator of the museum, and he's talking about it, and I always thought it was a short story, but he goes, this chain, you can tell this chain was made by a German, and he pulls out, it's so perfect, and he goes, this one was made by a British man, and he goes, look how crappy it is, right? And he was a Brit, and he was like, this is a beautiful German chain. It took this man probably like a week to make this chain, and this guy just went, here, it's done, So, and it just the German tanks are just so interesting, so different, and Tigers, Panthers, and then all the flak vehicles, and Panzer IVs, and my favorite vehicle is a Sturmgeschütz G. Oh. With the, not with the Sauerkraut, with the flat one. To me, it's just cool looking, I thought. So I love building that one. And that's why, before I started doing YouTube, I had like 5 that I had built of that. And now I'm like, I need to actually build one again. So,
okay.
Yep, I'm going to.
I think you will find one.
Yeah, I think
Maybe.
so too, yes. And that's just a fun vehicle to build. I like building that one a lot. And that's true of most North Americans, so.
What do you like more at modeling? Assemble the parts or painting and weathering?
Painting and weathering. Yes, I get to the point, and that's why the interiors kind of drive me crazy. I'm sitting there like, oh my God, I got 3 more days of assembly. And I don't mind assembling, but I want to paint. I love getting the airbrush out and just going to town and knocking it, and that's, to me, is a lot of fun. And that's where the artistic part comes in, I think, because I've seen models that you can hide a lot with painting and weathering, It's like, oh, I messed this up, but oh, it's gone.
That's one reason why you built a tank or whatever in a few days.
To a degree, yeah. I'll pick vehicles that are easier to build. you know, like a Tamiya kit or a TACOM, one of those that are not without interiors, that are not that hard to build. And I don't dislike it, but I built 3 interior kits in like a short period of time. You know, I go, I don't want to build any more interior kits, and it kind of dragged it out. Right? Yeah, exactly. And then in between customers in my store coming in, and I'm like, yeah, I just want to just go and have some fun. So about 2 weeks ago, I built a 72nd scale. I was like, this was great. I could build it in like a day, paint it the next day, and it's ready to go. So you might see more and more 72nd scale come out for me. So, and the dioramas are much smaller too.
Yeah.
I built one that was this, and I'm like, where am I going to put this now? It won't fit in my display cases, and someone goes, I'll buy it from you. I go, sold, you know. It's like, excuse me. Any more questions? Yes.
What about your Panzer 1 to 16 scale? Do you finish it?
Which one are we talking?
The new trumpeter kit came out last year, and you made a short video that
the interior one. Yeah. Yes, I haven't actually started that because there's a late one coming that was a little bit more interesting for me, and I probably will do that. And at home right now, I have a 16 scale Sheridan that Tamiya sent with the RC unit inside. So I want to play with that. So I'm going to start that probably when I get back.
Nice thing.
Play around, and they said, "Yeah, we've got an RC unit. You want?" Yes, send it. And then he had a Panzer IV in 16 scale. In the gentleman who from Tamiya USA, and he said it was in my office, and I went back and it was gone. So I don't have it for you now. No, I want to build that one. So eventually I'll get to that one, and eventually the Panther too. And a trumpeter or anyone, make a 16 scale Stormgeschütz. I want that one the most, you know. And then you can make a Panzer III too. So
Of course.
yes.
What do you think about Dragon Kit with the conclusion structure?
Yes, Dragon Kits, that's the only company I would always read 4 steps ahead and go, no. Or I love Dragon Kits how the part is not on in this picture, and then it's suddenly on in this picture, but there was no telling where that came from. You're like, where did that come from? Yeah, no number, and it's like, I don't know what even, so sometimes parts get left off, you know, it's, but yeah, Dragon, we laugh over in the United States too. Trumpeter, when we read the English translations on the side, I'm like, there's nobody in China that can speak English? Because that is not the way we speak, not even close. And it's like, I kind of get what they're saying, but not even close on it. Is it too? Okay, so I think they use Google Translate, and it just doesn't work out
then
great.
they shake it again.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm always afraid. I use Google Translate a few times, and then it looks at it, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right. And I'm afraid to talk to anybody in there. And in the United States where we live, our second language is Spanish. And German got offered my last year of high school, but I'd already been taking Spanish, so they said, we got to finish with Spanish. And I go, I wanted to take German. And
It's never too late.
no, exactly. I started using Rosetta Stone, but my German's terrible. So. And then if you start speaking fast to me, I'll get caught on the first word, and you'll be 10 words in, and I'll be, oh, I'm sorry. It's, write it down, please.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Hersteller will mal hinter die Kulissen gucken und da mitmachen in der Entwicklung und sowas.
Is there a manufacturer where you would love to go behind the scenes and help making a kit, or isn't it interesting for you?
Oh, no, absolutely. And I watched Harold's video of going to China, and I wanted more of that. I wanted to see how it was made, or Tamiya again, too. I'd love to go to their... Now, they've moved everything out of Japan, it looks like, to the Philippines, but even just to go see how it's made, and that's super interesting.
And getting personally involved in a...
I don't know how personally they want me involved in it, but...
but would you be interested?
Oh, absolutely, yes, absolutely. I would love to do something like that. That would be very, very interesting. And seeing how they do the CAD work on the computer and then cut the molds and do all that stuff's very interesting too. But it's all kind of like a mystery to us. We kind of hear little bits and pieces how things are done, but don't really know.
Yeah.
And like, we hear rumors, like, what does it cost to build a kit? And I don't know, and maybe is it $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 now? I mean, we don't know on it. And then how many do they make? You know, like when a brand new kit comes out, we have the first wave comes to the United States, and then it's like 6 months sometimes before we get from some company before we get a restock on it. Whereas Tamiya is usually always there. But I'm like, well, how many did you make of this? Is it 5,000, 50,000? And then I got a clue. Revell sent me some giant boxes, and on the side there were master cases, which means they labeled everyone with a number on it, and they hand wrote on top. So it was like case 47 out of like 520, and then or whatever it was, and I figured it out. We did the math, and it was like 15,000 kits would have been made. So it was a model car, so you expect more. And I don't know how popular that is, like a Ford Mustang. I don't know, probably not very popular here, but over there, it is okay. Because that model kit would be very, very popular in the United States when the new one comes out. Or 60s and 70s muscle cars, you know, the big giant 4,000 pound cars type things. But I didn't know if they make it over here and if they're popular at all, or are they doing it just for the U.S. market?
No, they are popular.
They are?
But
Okay.
they are more popular. I think.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very good then. Some, right, yeah. Even in our country. And then we get kits that come over, and you're like, is this popular anywhere in the world? You know, what is it? Revell AMT made a Pinto. And the Pinto was a giant joke in our country for a long time, but they were making model kits of it. And you're like, why would they do something like that? They were exploding all the time. You hit him in the back, the gas tank was back there, and the whole car explodes. Okay. So let's make a model kit of it, you know.
Great.
Good diorama.
Of course. Weitere Fragen? Oder?
Yes.
How much time do you spend on researching for a particular tank or a special project like diorama?
If I do a diorama, I try to find pictures first and foremost of like an area. Now, when I'm driving through northern Germany on the train, I took a lot of pictures to see how like a river and how much vegetation goes up to the edge of it. And sometimes you see, I did a diorama of an oasis, and I used very, very blue water, but I found a whole bunch of pictures of the real water that blue. And people were like, and I kept those pictures because I knew that people would come out, that water's not blue like that in an oasis. And yes, it is. And it was funny, I had a guy recently, I live in the desert, and he was like, you don't know what it's like to have vehicles in the desert. And I went, yes, I do. I live in Arizona's in the desert. My car is filthy right now from desert dust. I know what desert dust looks like on ours. I don't know what, maybe not North Africa, but it looks the same. Arizona looks like Africa, North Africa. In fact, from Phoenix all the way to the middle of California is the U.S. Desert Training Center during the 40s. So any North African tanker that came from my country trained there. In fact, for a while there, they dumped a bunch of Shermans. They said, okay, you're done. And they just left them in the desert. And people were finding Sherman tanks in the desert, years later. One guy found one, dragged it to his restaurant, put it out in front there. And the military came and goes, where did you get that? Oh, we found it out there. No, that's ours still. And they took it back. My government never gives up ownership of anything. Even if they abandon it, they want it back. And yeah, he thought, this is a great memento, a big Sherman in front of my vehicle. Yeah, I would love one. Yeah. But you can buy them now. You can buy a Sherman for about $100,000.
Oh my God.
So maybe someday have one in front of my store.
That would be nice.
That would be very nice. Can I park it in the garage? No.
Wife says no.
No. And then the other one I'd love to have would be a Kubelwagen, but that's $100,000, I think, for that vehicle there.
And some work.
Yes, lots of work. Or any German tank, I guess. Yes, yes, definitely. There was a gentleman in California who passed away, Jack Littlefield.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get to his museum.
I was there.
Were you there?
Yeah.
I'd love to see that. He had so many model kits, one-to-one model kits, of the real thing. And unfortunately, that whole collection got broken up.
Yeah.
And
That's really a pity.
Yep. But the Panther, I heard, is in Stowe, Massachusetts, and I'm going to be making a trip out there somewhat soon. My relatives still live in Massachusetts, so we'll have to make a little diversion over to it. And then tomorrow I get to see the Munster Museum, so I'm very excited. We don't have many German tanks in the United States. The few that we had were in Aberdeen Proving Grounds, and I have to say it was kind of sad. We just left them all outside, and they're all falling apart now.
Yeah.
But finally they decided, hey, let's bring all this stuff inside and preserve it, and then eventually get to Bovington sometime too. So I want to see all that stuff. Is it? I definitely want to see that. And I've been invited there. It's just I can't scheduling time to get over there because I still have my store. Everybody goes, everyone thinks I just do YouTube. And it's like, no, my store is still my how I pay for my wife and son and myself to eat, and I like eating.
Do you close your shop when you're doing your videos?
No, I do it in between takes. So it'll be like little short 2 to 7 minutes that I'll film, and then I'll do something off camera, and then move on to the next thing. So there'll be certain times of the day, like when most people are working, I'll get like an hour or two that uninterrupted. But I can guarantee that if I want to get something done, or if I want to have a busy day, start a model kit. Because as soon as I start, people start pouring in the door, and I'm like, okay, forget it. I'm not even going to get to build that today. So that's always the way. Or have someone call me on the phone that I really want to talk to, and the customers start pouring in the door. So Murphy's Law.
Yeah, for sure.
You have that here, Murphy's Law?
Yeah,
okay.
Course, of course.
I don't know who Murphy was.
I think we invented him.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
What is your biggest challenge in molding apart from figurines?
Yeah, I was gonna say figurines. Definitely figurines. Canopies on aircraft. That's why I don't do more aircraft. Some of the big German bombers with like the greenhouse, I guess you call it, or you know, all the multi panes of glass.
Yeah, with all the small lines and stuff.
You're right. I love those, but I'm like, that would take me forever to paint that and mask it. And I'm sitting there with the tape, and I'm trying to get it on square. Nope. And then, or I get one, and then now I've got 90 more to go. No. 109. Not too much to do. That's an easy one right there. Or someone come out with pre-painted canopies that you just come out.
Really? Yeah.
Tamiya had it at one point for the Lancaster. The Lancaster kit came with it, and I'm like, why did you stop doing this? This was great. Drop it on. Because the rest of it I can do. And I got big sausage fingers. So getting the tape on is not always easy for me.
Yeah. So, I think we're done.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you very much, Andy. It was a pleasure to have you here.
I thank you all so much for coming. I appreciate it. It's been very, very nice.
So enjoy the rest of the day.
Yes, I'm going to go and mingle, and I'm going to go shopping.
Have some sausage.
Yes.
Ja.
Thank you.
Schön, dass ihr da wart. Viel Spaß noch.
Danke.
Thank you. That was very good.
You was very good.
Well, there you go, guys. There's the Q&A that we had at Summerfest. I've said this probably 1,000 times already, but I had such an incredible time there. It's an incredible place to visit, and I would highly recommend that if you're in, a train ride away to northern Germany, definitely next year go over there. You won't regret it. Now, I'm going to get back to work on this P38, so we get the video out hopefully in the next few days. Well, maybe 3 or 4 days. And then we're going to start immediately on this big beast here, that big 16 scale Sheridan. I've taken it apart 3 or 4 times, but I don't want to start it until I get my other project done. That's the one rule that I have with myself is I never start more than one kit. And that's just to keep things straight in my mind what I'm doing. I don't want to come back and mess up something. So I want to thank you guys as always for watching, and please stay tuned because we have many more videos coming.